Hello guys, welcome back to SiegeGG. Today we are with our wildcard player, Mr. Bay. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, great, great. It's super hot here in Barcelona, but yeah, I guess the problem is the same in Paris. Well, are you in Paris already?
Oh, no, we're still in Texas, so it's
Okay,
probably hotter here than
probably
Paris.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually yeah, definitely. Okay, as a wildcard player, you guys, you did very well this stage one. Oh, we have a. That's fine. That's fine. That's funny. Yeah. So as wildcard, you qualified for the Esports World Cup, but you did in style. Because you finished in first place in North America, and this is basically my first question. Last year we saw you guys doing very well on the international stage, but not so well regionally. But you guys have apparently fixed this issue because during kickoff you finished in second place, and now you finish in first. Um, what was the key to start getting these results in North America?
Um, I don't really think there's too much of a secret to it. Just like more consistency with our like understanding strats and playing the game.
Was there some type of difference between like preparing for North America last year and internationally than this year? Did you change anything that you can actually like share with us?
To be honest, we were probably more scared of NA teams last year. Now, like we kind of just dominate them. We don't really fear any teams.
Good. Um, then obviously, like I think that we also have to talk about Salt Lake City as well. But Salt Lake City was kind of a different tournament for you because obviously Adrian couldn't play because of visa issues, let's say, and you had to play with Hot and Cold. Hot and Cold was in a kind of weird situation because he had just been benched by M80 because of like some reasons that maybe a little bit controversial, let's say. So he was in a situation where a lot of the people were like looking at him like, is he going to do well? How is he going to perform? And how is he going to adapt to your team? Because obviously it's not an easy job to adapt to a team in such a small time frame. So yeah, I think the obvious question here is, um, what did you learn from Hot and Cold? If you learned something from his experience, um, and yeah, like how did Adrian help you back in the day, and how did the situation affect you?
Um, when we played with Hot and Cold, you could definitely like tell he had a lot of experience just by being around him. Like when we would lose or anything, he'd actually like want to go do things with the team and like spend time with each other. And also like playing with him, there wasn't really any pressure because we're playing with a sub, and it's like if we lose, it's probably what's people expect, and if we win, it's like wow. So it's like it was very enjoyable playing at Salt Lake because it was just kind of easy with him. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but obviously, like when you play at an international event, despite the circumstances, you guys want to win any tournament. Um, and obviously, Salt Lake City was going to be a difficult challenge because of like what we mentioned about hot and cold. Um, but I'm gonna use Salt Lake City as an example, but there are other examples because since Reload, you have always reached the international stage. But for some reason, people are still taking you not so seriously, I would say, no? Like compared to other teams, like for example, I don't know, Dark Zero, Face Clan, or Team Falcons, or who maybe have like the better results if you look at like 3, 4 years time. But if we look at, like last year and a half, maybe you are a little bit ahead of some of those teams that are seen as more like, stronger. Um, so, like how do you see yourselves right now?
Um, Honestly, probably the best team in the world. We don't really care about if other people are saying like don't take it serious or anything because all that matters is like when we play and we show up, they can not take us serious. But at the end of the day, if we're making the main stage every event, like or we lose to the teams who beat it, it's like we're gonna get over that one step at one of these tournaments, and then it's just gonna be our tournament. And then maybe people take us serious, maybe not. All that matters is like we take ourselves serious and don't really let that get to us.
Continuing with this topic, I kind of understand, or I guess like that's maybe how I would think when you reach Reload's stage and you actually were like one map away from reaching the grand final. Maybe like that result was like kind of like wow, okay, we actually did very well, and then like the same can maybe apply to Munich and maybe even Paris. But now I guess like you guys want more. You actually want to finish the job. So how has ambition changed in the team in the last, let's say, half a year?
Honestly, it's less ambition and more like experience. Because when you get on the stage, a lot of the time, what wins games is just like being calm and just like, having those fundamentals not falling apart. And with experience, you slowly just become stronger and stronger in those high intensity moments because you've been there before. You know what it's like. That's why I think when you see like rookies in a super high intensity moment, it's not pretty most of the time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it actually obviously like, makes sense. Like when I think about wildcards, I think like people tend to like kind of like put they are not putting like conversations that I think like you should belong by now. So I think like um, they still see wildcard as that weak lineup, but I think like they are pretty wrong. Um, Compared to the beginning of this wildcard project, maybe even before Lagonis joined you, what has changed in the team since then, or let's say how has the team grown since then?
Um, at the beginning, I don't think we were as serious because we didn't realize what we were capable of. Like before reload, we kind of just like had a team and it was kind of like unknown what our ceiling is. But after reload, I think that's when things like we started to become more professional about it. It's like, okay, we can actually do this. It's time to lock in a little bit. And back then we had Justin as the coach, and now we have Lagonis, who amazing. So now it's like every tournament we go to, we know it could be the one that like where we might win because we know where our level is right now.
Great. Talking about North America's first stage, obviously like you are the champions, but that result came because of like other scores. And I want to start with the group stage. In the group stage, we saw quite strong version of you, but at the end of the day, those games are best of ones. But it was a top four finish, and then you had to play against Dark Zero in the playoffs. It was a best of three. That was like the toughest game of the stage, maybe. Um, Now you were playing against the Salt Lake City champion, but it's a team that you know very well. In fact, you had already. I think that you beat them in the group stage. Correct me if I'm wrong right now, but I
Yeah, we
think
did.
yeah, you did. So of the three games that you had to play before reaching, well, winning the whole thing, and I think that was DC, then MAT and MAT. Which one do you think was the hardest?
Um, I would say probably DZ because that was the only one where I think we lost the map. We got absolutely destroyed on Chalet. But even when we got destroyed, we were like very calm about it. Like if you go back and watch it, we're all just like laughing the whole time, all just getting absolutely dominated. I'd say DZ though.
Then obviously you had to play against MAT next. Now, after you beat DZ, you already knew that you were going to be in the Esports World Cup, and not just that, but you knew that you were going to be in Phase 2, which means that you avoided the play-ins. And actually, the play-ins for the Esports World Cup are a bit more demanding than a majors play-ins because only two teams move forward, and based on how the group stage works and everything, it's going to be tough for the teams involved. But while you are not in that conversation, so let's move forward. Um, Against MAT, the first game, sorry, the last game, it was a 2-0 victory, but it was quite comfortable. So what was the difference? Like, do you think that maybe they came quite tired from the lower bracket run or the map pool? How, like, can you go through that series?
Um, I'm not really sure if it had a lot to do with them. I think we were just like playing lights out that day. Honestly, that entire week we were playing incredible. Like everything was just clicking, everything was working. So I don't really know if it was them as much tired, although it could be. It is tough having to play two BO3s in one day. It is also a part of the game. You have to be ready for that.
Okay. Another thing that I wanted to discuss with you is that during this stage, we had some changes in the meta, and we saw some operators being elevated because of it. For example, we have Wamai now, or we have Sofia, or even Jaeger, and other operators who have been tweaked. Um, Sofia is a kind of a, like controversial one because of like the three nades and well, like that play that you can, you know, basically bomb someone from below, more or less like replicating those already extinct cooking nade movement, no, where you could like yellow ping and everything. So how do you think the new changes have affected the meta right now? And do you think this is something that Ubisoft should think twice, at least like thinking of the esports ecosystem?
100%. It honestly, my time playing, it's probably the biggest change that's ever came out mid-season. I was pretty shocked to see how powerful Amaya is. Same with Sophia. Like, there's so much util. I think it's a bit crazy to add it because I think it happened in like the middle of a APAC series. Like the update came out,
I
so they
think
were
so.
literally in a game, and in that same game that update came out. So it's
Actually,
just
yeah,
like,
you're right. I think because I remember reading about a lot of trouble, I think, with like servers and stuff, I think.
yeah, I definitely don't think it's great to do that mid-season because it kind of just throws in a loop that it's just like unpredictability, I guess. And I think in like a professional scene, everything should be able to be like studied and strategized because that's when you see like the highest level of gameplay instead of just throwing out a random update in the middle of a season.
Do you think this is going to still have a big impact in the Esports World Cup, or do you think have already, like adapted to? Do you think that teams maybe
Uh,
have or been cooking in the background and we still are not fully, aware of how the picture has changed?
yeah, 100%. It's gonna it's gonna be a big thing in EWC. Someone's gonna get blown up by Zofia for sure. Well, Maya is so OP as well. I think you're gonna see those two ops a lot at EWC for sure.
Right. Um, Now talking about the Esports World Cup, I think there's something cool about your roster. Basically, obviously, Adrian
Hmm.
won last year's edition, and not just that, but he was the MVP of the tournament. So if we think about it, it's like the perfect addition to your roster, especially considering that he already knows how it feels to win it. Now it's also going to be your first international event together because, as we said earlier, he couldn't join you in Salt Lake City because of the visa. Now, how is the excitement in the team, or let's say, like, how do you like? How are you feeling right now, knowing that finally you will be able to play internationally with Adrian?
It's very exciting, especially for all of us, like me, Kansan, Spiker, and Baby Shark. We've never played at EWC before, so this being our first tournament and being with the guy who literally won the thing the year before, it's gonna be a very special tournament for us.
Has he shared any thoughts, or has he shared any like advice that you think you could use? Because actually the format is pretty different to other competitions. In fact, the format in this World Cup is very quick. If you have a bad couple of days, you're out of the tournament. Which, I mean, it can apply to Swiss stage, but it's a best of one and a best of three, and you're done. So has he shared any thoughts about it?
Um, yeah, I think the biggest thing is that you can be a champion of the tournament within like 5 series, which is crazy, and that's what they did on Secret. I think they didn't really. I think they played 5 or 6 series. I'm not too sure on that.
Yeah, they didn't
But yeah,
drop a
it's just a
single
quick
map.
tournament. Yeah, we just got to show up prepared.
Right. In fact, like you still don't know the team that you're going to play against because it's basically it works by seeding. So like depending on the standing, the global standings, and depending on the that make it through the play-in, you will have to face one team or another. I think there are, like the maths have been done, and you already maybe know like there's this chance we play this team or there's this chance we play this other team. Um, does that like affect the preparation, or you actually just prepare for any team like any other tournament?
Uh, Knowing the team you're gonna play definitely helps because you can do more specific preparation. But without knowing what team we play, I mean, we can guess off of some like calculator stuff, but you can really only prep for like general things about us, or you can like prep for like what teams you think will win.
Also, like there's another player that I wanted to talk about, and that's Baby Shark. Paris obviously is an important city for well, having the opportunity to play in Paris is great for him, and we still
Hmm.
remember how it was at SI. It's like his chance to play in front of like a home crowd. Have you guys talked about this again, or it's just like like nothing that really matters, like the whole team?
Yeah, he's very excited to be like in his home. His parents are gonna be there, which he doesn't get to see them a lot because being a transfer from EU, he lives in the USA with us, so it's kind of hard for him to go home or make time to go like across the world back to France. So us having the opportunity to be back in Paris for him to be around his family again, it's two events in a row. I think it means a lot to him.
Good, yeah. I mean, I still remember the scenes when you guys were in Paris. You actually had the opportunity to play in front of the crowd because you made it to the main event. Um, Now, obviously, like the Esports World Cup, not the same as the Six Invitationals, biggest competition, Rainbow Six. But the Esports
Hmm.
World Cup is the second best right now, especially considering that there's an SI spot at stake. Considering that you guys are in a comfortable position on the global standings, do you actually think about that or something that goes with the?
Um, I think when we played at Invite, it was definitely a different feeling than all the other tournaments. It felt like a lot more serious, a lot more like high level, I guess.
Sorry, I have to
But for the
connect my
majors one,
headphones.
okay.
Sorry, technical issues. That's it. Sorry.
You mean restart? You heard me?
No, it's fine. You can continue.
Okay. But anyways, for the majors and like EWC, I guess they actually we've never played at EWC, so I can't say. But the majors definitely feel a little bit like less. I'm trying to think of a good word for it, like exotic, I guess, than invitational. And I don't know. The feeling when we played at Invite was like it felt very magical. I guess it was like the best production we've ever seen. Everything was like such high quality, and I don't really know what to expect for EWC. I've only ever heard good things. So.
Well, I was in Riyadh last year and it's spectacular. Be honest, like I think that no one knows how or what to expect from Paris because obviously it's like a different place and it's gonna be like a different experience for everyone, regardless of their past experiences. But yeah, I think like the Esports World Cup is a tournament that cannot be ignored. There are some controversial takes that we are not gonna mention, but like everyone will have their own thoughts. But considering the huge prize pool involved and like the opportunity that the competition offers right now, and considering the position the sports organizations are, it's something that you cannot really ignore. The Esports World Cup obviously is not just about Rainbow Six; it's also about other esports titles, and that involves 24 other games because there's chess. I don't want to say video games when chess is involved as well, for obvious reasons. Now, you also play for club championship points. That also can grant Wildcard an extra amount, quite important, substantial amount. So we could be talking about millions. It
Mhm.
is incredible to say. But yeah, do you actually think about those things, or you just like focus on the Rainbow Six stuff? What's in your hand, basically?
Like the club points and stuff.
Yeah. Does that add any extra pressure? Because at the end of the day, we're talking about a lot of money.
Not really. I don't even really know how it works. I just know if we do good, that they'll get club points and extra money. And our goal is to do good and not really think about that.
Okay.
So it really adds nothing for us.
Great, great. No, I think that's the mentality. To be honest, I think that's the mentality. So that's great.
Yeah.
Um, Now that I'm talking with you, I also wanted to ask you some questions about another topic, and that's the Esports Nations Cup. Um,
Hmm.
you are involved in the project because you are. I don't think you are in the starting lineup, but you are there as a, like. Well, I don't know how actually works. You have like the US has 7 players. I don't think the starting lineup has been announced, but there are 2 players who are like they're helping. So I would like to know your position. Like, how are you involved? How are the well, if you can actually like share anything with us, because I understand that maybe this is like a bit private, but if there's something that you can share with us, I would like to know it.
Um, I don't really know what I'm allowed to say.
Okay.
Uh, all I'll say is I am involved as of right now. I'm the sub, but I think that stuff can change, like depending on like the performance of the year. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet about what's going on. I think a lot of the stuff is mainly focused towards people on their teams right now, just focusing on the tournaments that's in front of us. But I think when I think it's Japan is before it or after?
Or
Before? I think after Japan, that's probably when stuff will start happening, but it's still pretty just dead silent about what's going on for it.
because for what I know, the tournament in well, Osaka is going to be played between the 7th and the 15th, and then the ENC is going to be played the following weekend. So I guess
Mhm.
like you guys will have like a short uh window of like time where like you may have 3 or 4 days to actually like prepare like being fully focused, because I understand like it's a when you think about the schedule, it's like really like difficult to understand how it's going to work, because obviously you have your obligations with your team. When you finish the Esports World Cup, then maybe people would think like, oh, you have those 3 weeks, but obviously like you have to rest. You are a person as well, and in fact those 3 weeks are not just rest. No, I guess like you have to dedicate minimum 10 days to like scrim again, get starting to feel ready again with the like the game, or even prepare for what's gonna come, because like obviously there's nothing official, but we know that the operator that's going to be released in season 3 is going to be a counter to shields, and that could change the meta like completely, and like break it into two, and like like everything could change. That being said, that's why I understand like nations having 7 players, because like meta changes or personal situation or could like affect the priority, and maybe a player that has been chosen now whose main goal is to use shield operators, maybe it's not that useful in like a month or 2 months. Maybe that's when one of the subs come in. So this is just like my way of thinking. I'm not sure if it's any different from your perspective.
I mean, 100%. The meta's going to change. People will perform differently. People will like really show up, become like superstars. Like between now and after the Japan event, we could win both events, and then I probably wouldn't be a sub, right? Because how could you say no to
Exactly.
a team that just wins everything?
Exactly.
So I think it all just depends on how we do, how individuals perform, how teams perform. Like if you're an IGL, they're not really looking as much into your performance or kills. It's more like seeing how your team's doing. because that's how you really tell what who an IGL is.
When now let's go into more basic things about the NC. Um, when when you got the call, let's say,
Mhm.
that you were going to be involved in the project, how did you feel or what did you think about it? Because this is the first tournament that involves nations in Rainbow Six Siege, at least like officially, internationally, like with like a LAN setup and everything, like not like an online Jinxie tournament involving like, whatever. So how did you feel? Because this is just like the Olympics of Siege or the Olympics in general.
I think it's awesome. I think it's something that probably should have been done a long time ago. Even though the game's still growing, more stuff will come. Hang on, you're losing me.
Yeah.
Sorry, my camera kind of sucks. But the biggest thing for me is when they told me I'm a sub, I kind of made it clear that I don't want to be too heavily involved if I'm not gonna play, because I would rather be focused with my team, because that's like what matters to me more. Is obviously playing for Wildcard, playing good with these guys, because it's who I spend the entire year with. And the thing that worries me about the nation stuff is kind of like the practicality of it, because if the roster's not finalized, or like there's subs that maybe will get switched out, switched in, it's like, how do we get a lot of experience together as a roster? How do we understand like the strats we'd use? You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it just seems a little bit like maybe some teams will just show up and play.
Well, I think like the ENC brings some uh like situations that we have never faced. Because if you, I'm gonna use football, soccer. I hate the word soccer, but you know, just to
Yeah.
make it
Now you
clear,
can use football. I got
it's
you.
fine. Football. Because I'm gonna use the example of football because like the World Cup was in America right now. Well, like just a few weeks ago and everything. And I'm from Spain, so like we are the winners. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, those guys have their own coach, national coach, and their own facilities and everything, their own staff, and yeah. So in Siege or in any other esports, the coach plays well, like represents another team. So like the strategies that you are using, you are sharing with like players from other rosters, and maybe there are some conflicts of interest. Then obviously like the part that you were mentioning, which is like having time to scrim together, and not to mention your case, the US has a Stompen, and Stompen plays for G2, who is an they are playing in Europe, so obviously like that presents a ping issue. So I think there are some situations that this idea is very young still. This is the first time that we're seeing such a big concept being put together. So I think there are some challenges that like teams will have to face or players will have to face, and yeah, I think that your approach is pretty good. Because if I was like a replacement, let's say, I wouldn't want to be fully attached, no, because maybe I don't, I would feel a bit sad if I'm, left behind, or I want to focus on what's actually real, because maybe, like I think there are, like there are some situations, I guess. But thanks for sharing everything with, well, like your situation in US. Um, there are some nations that are going to have it easier, I think. For example, Japan, because these players mainly play for Cyclops and or have played together in previous teams, or
Yeah,
Saudi Arabia, for example. Sorry, you wanted to say something?
I was about to say the reason it's so hard for NA is just like the amount of talent we have. I'm not really worried about the roster not being good, because no matter what, out of the seven they pick, it's
Mhm.
gonna be probably a top three roster. I have full faith in that because of how good like the players are on there. But it's more about just like how fast can they like really solidify their choice.
Now that you talk about the quality of the players, I wanted to like do it very briefly. Obviously, I think the US are the kind of one of the three favorites alongside France and obviously Brazil. So considering these three, I want you to put them in order on the podium.
Um, I would take the USA, Brazil, and then France easily.
Okay. Okay. Good, good, good. Perfect. Okay, now going back and to finish this, to wrap things up, the Esports World Cup. Uh, Now, this is a tournament that's going to take place until August 15, and it's going to be like not like a major in terms of format, but we will have a reveal panel for season 3, and we will have like a lot of international action. We'll have Chinese teams as well, just like in Salt Lake City. We'll have teams from China, we'll have Weibo from Asia, blah 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 blah. Um, Now, we saw China's first steps in Salt Lake City. What do you expect from the Chinese team now?
Honestly, I'm very impressed by China and APAC a lot. I think like Asia is honestly at their peak. Like the teams are very good. If you look at Enterprise, they're very good. If you look at Weibo, they're better in my opinion. They're very good. Like even the Chinese teams, all gamers, they kind of got robbed against Five Fears. They had like rehost or whatever, but like it really makes you think if that didn't happen, maybe like China would be viewed really good. I think they're very underdog region for sure.
Well, we have all gamers. I know Edward Gaming. Edward Gaming are like kind of like the Cinderella from China. They only lost 3 maps, and that's
And
quite
they
quite strong considering that the Chinese league is a best of 3 league. So all of their group stage games and playoff games were best of 3, and they only lost 3 maps, which are incredible. And the numbers that their players got during stage 1 were incredible. Like
it's
I think,
insane, yeah.
yeah, Carpe went 15, 51, 15 in entries. That's honestly that's impressive. That's incredible.
In at Salt Lake, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think statistically their best player couldn't get into Salt Lake, and
Yeah,
that's why they're playing with
exactly.
Noah.
Yeah, exactly. Direction
So
was
even then, like you can't really judge them off of Salt
exactly,
Lake because it's
exactly.
just a scuffed situation for them. So like it's another Chinese team that hey maybe there's some underdogs, maybe they got some talent in them that we'll see at EWC.
Now, my personal take, and to wrap things up, my personal take is that you guys have like a really, really, really strong shot at winning EWC. This is my personal take. And maybe some. In fact, I think that my three favorites are you guys, Wildcard, M80, and Team Liquid, because I think that M80 and Team Liquid are playing in a situation that not the rest of teams are, which is they are in a really difficult position on the global standings, and I think they actually have more reasons to take EWC even more serious. Uh, Maybe that can like that is a double-edged sword because like that can add like extra pressure, and but I think that like they are very experienced rosters. I think they could use that to their advantage. And you guys, so if you had to choose 3 teams that you think could lift the trophy, um obviously like I'm sure that you guys believe that you can win it, and I actually, as I said, I think you have a very strong shot. But what 3 teams do you think you should be careful, or fans should like follow closely?
Um, the three I'd put right now, I'd say us, M80, and FaZe. I think by far NA is the best region in the world right now, and we're the winners of NA. So what's that make us? I don't know.
Oh, okay, just say it. Just say it.
Hey, it makes us in the conversation.
Okay, fine.
I'll say that.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. Perfect. Okay, thank you so much for your time. And honestly, good luck in Esports World Cup first appearance. But yeah,
Thank
sometimes
you.
it just takes one to trophy. So yeah, best of luck and thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'll be seeing you for an in-person interview again one day.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's gonna be soon. I think, huh? In Paris,
Hey,
US.
when we win, you
Yeah.
got my word. We can get another one in.
Great. That's. I will remember. Eh? Don't worry about that. Perfect. Thank you so much. This is Bay from Wildcards, and yeah, bye.
Thank you. Bye.